of all time as well. So the stage is set. Sunday night footy on Fox. Great to have you company. Pitternet against English, and Cripps gets an early touch. Jams it on the boot, gets it to half forward. Casbolt, Eastonwood had him half. Didn't have him fully. Cripps waited for Martin, waited for Cripps, and Bottenpilly went and got the Sharon. Quick fire kick to West. Pokes it wide into the space. Nice lead up from Bruce, coming off that 6-goal game last week. Long way from home. Launches it close to home. Bottenpilly, little push off. Ed Curnow at the back. Boundary line is there if he wants it. He was keener on the push in the back, but he was never going to get that ball in.
Well, the intention's clear there from Marcus Bontempelli. He's going to get forward at every opportunity. He was the one that cleared that ball out.
Curnow looks like he's undersized, but he's going to get under his skin, hopefully, for Blues fans.
Pitternet and English tries to slap back. West sees it towed off the deck out of his hands. Daniel caught by Betts. Good contest early. Gibbons squeezes it out into the space. Keith, the goalkeeper, didn't want to pick it up. Nunes pursued him, and he had a little jumper hold, and that was enough. Free kick to Alex Keith in his 6th game as a Dog. Good to hear a crowd in. And they're only going to get bigger from here as Hub life continues. First game in the Hub for these two teams tonight. Simpson jams it on the boot. Dogs have the players behind the ball. Keith probably should have completed the deal. Johannesson tried to mop up his mess, did okay to Williams. Back to Keith. Pokes into that space again. Wood. He drives it further into that wide space. Beautiful delivery. Smith.
Hard running from Smith there. Came from the other side of the ground. Just put the head down and went.
Oh, gee, that one did look 15. Liberatore, but I don't mind them. They're going to call it like that. Long. Bruce. Shacky. Goes low. Collects it. Williams was half held, but he dropped it. And the tackle was dropped. Martin backed out of the congestion. It's down on the boot by Nunes. This will work. McGovern can go. Couple of dance steps backwards, and then he launches it long on the run. Good grab, Mackay, and he's within distance, and this is very kickable by his standards.
Well, the Bulldogs had the extra there. It was Alex Keith, and Mackay just put his head down, was able to get goal side really quickly. I think it was Cordy there who was just caught napping, saw Keith, and it almost lulled him into a false sense of security.
He's got 1-3 for the year, so can be a little inaccurate, but normally from this distance it's not too bad. And he crushes that all the way home.
Well, a really good start by the Blues. I like their direct approach. Obviously, the more you use the ball in slippery conditions, the more chance you've got of turning it over. But this was pretty simple stuff. Win the ball at contest, just force it forward. McGovern did well. He spun around, he didn't muck around, he just got it into an open forward line, back of the pack, bit of Pagan's paddock, and then a good conversion. Simplistic stuff, but it works.
Important for the Blues that McGovern and Mackay have been able to get involved early, because they were all 3 key forwards for Carlton last week were poor. Mackay had 4 possessions, McGovern 6 and Casbolt 6, so they need those guys up and about if they're to threaten a red-hot Bulldogs team, and that is the ideal start.
Had a few slow starts this season, the Blues. Their one hot start was against Geelong, and again they won, even though the Cats came back in that one at GMHBA. Carlton held on to win by 2 points. Pitternet and English in the ruck, thrown in the air because of Stamp. Cripps is in the middle with Bontempelli, but they're not on each other, and Cripps will win the clearance because Smith was in his back. Pops it to the runner. Simpson, nice delivery. He gets and goes. Slipper into it, but not enough on it. And the cut off from Cordy. English.
Strong start by Cordy, well read. Slippery conditions, controlled it well, and got the kick away.
English, patient, if you like. Heads long towards the wing. Pitternet flew. Bruce Crumbs hands it off to Smith, off and running. Spectacular delivery, but it was fumbled by Vandermeer. Plowman in game 100 Flicked the handball out, had to go and mop it up himself. Gave it to Walsh, whose first touch is on the full.
Been a
And
bit
a little
shaky.
nudge from Bailey Smith on the way through. And I think they both know what's on the line here. Reputations are at stake here.
A couple of young bucks going after each other.
Yep, that used to be me, Patrick Cripps is saying. Now I'm the older guy and there's this new kid on the block. Pitternet gets up there, got his hands on it. Couldn't take the mark. Liberatore had a bit of time. Gives it up to Smith, bends it, bounces it, rolls it, goals it. And says, Paddy, you see that?
Well, his development has actually been sensational. Since he first came into the competition, he's impressed. He continues to improve, and whilst he had a fantastic year last year, he's started again terrifically this year. And there's a whack for the number one, saying I should have been number one in this draft, not you. And maybe when Dwayne Reed does it in 10 years' time, I might put my hand up.
Well, when you look at that draft, let me tell you, it's a tough top 7. Sam Walsh 1, Jack Lukosius 2, Isaac Rankin 3, Max King 4, Connor Rosie 5, Ben King 6, Bailey Smith 7. It's hard to know who's going to end up number 1 out of that lot.
It's got a bit of super draft about it, that one.
Has it what? Isaac Rankin made that interesting this weekend. And this kid looks really good. The thing about Bailey Smith, he's 6 months younger than Sam Walsh. So Sam Walsh has had a birthday already this year. But Smith's birthday not until December. He's still 19 years of age right now. Might not sound much 6 months, but when you're only 18, it means a bit. English flies. Got it down. Curnow caught. Flicked the handball out. Pitternet likely. Little flick out handball from him was delightful. Cripps inside 50. Cordy caught. Dumped by Nunes. Dropped the ball as he was dumped. Gibbons hard tackle. Ball up.
Bit of
Confused about that one, Jared. Oh, well, haven't we seen that 20 times this week paid?
Yes, you can spend a lot of hours on analysing umpiring decisions. But what I'm looking at it right now is we've had 2 really slow, laborious games today. And this one looks like it's going to open up early.
Smith gets another touch, but it'll be coming back straight away. And in the pocket, Betts looks around to see who's around him. Oh, he just fumbled. He spent that before it earned it. Eddie knew what he wanted to do, but he left home without his wallet.
It's got a bit of speed on the game, Rui.
Quick decisions. Even that from the turnover, it was a quick decision to pump it back inside 50 so you give the forwards the best chance.
Casbolt ties up with English. Bontempelli through the traffic. He didn't have a look, but Vandermeer's out there. Vandermeer and Walsh, speaking of young guns, Vandermeer's having a good first season. Walsh fends him off. Good late lunging tackle, and Curnow couldn't get it out. Gibbons spears that towards Betts. Bounced off his chest. Johannesson caught. That's ball. Mackay. Eddie plays on. Eddie drills it.
Let him go. Zane. Brownie, all clear. All clear. Thanks, boys.
It's great when you see your key forwards doing that sort of stuff. So he's involved in the game. Big Harry early, chase down tackle. He seemed to be okay with the fact that he had his pocket picked afterwards. And
this is where you've got to be careful when you look at raw numbers of goals kicked. I mean, this is Curnow's goal. Sorry, not Curnow's goal, Harry's goal. And yet he won't get it marked because he would have gone back and slotted that one. That's a great tackle. And Eddie's just picked it up and said, I'll take that one. Thank you very much.
Hey, that's an experienced player right there.
And he's getting some praise from his coach, no doubt, David Teague. Got one to his name, gave one away. Brilliant start, Harry Mackay. Back in the middle.
You can see there's an issue for a side that plays territory. Carlton want to dominate centre clearances, and that's exactly what they're doing. Pitternet continues his good work.
Everybody takes a breath. Slick start to this. English, Pitternet, Curnow got away from Bontempelli. Blues inside 50 again, and Martin. Splendid grab.
You spoke about Caleb Daniel in the pre-game, Jared, and his great ball use off half-back and how he sets him up. This is the floor to his game, and teams have been trying to exploit it. This is just a great mark for Martin, but anytime you can get Daniel in a one-on-one like this, really, regardless of who it is, you're going to have him in the air.
Well, given that at centre bounces at 6, 6 and 6, this is when he's obviously got a direct opponent.
In he struts. A little right. And it's a behind. So a let off there for the Dogs. It's been a good recruit. They got him for free, Jack Martin, and he's had a pretty good year so far. Williams. Doherty got up, supported to ground, put the crumb again, handed it up just in time, Setterfield. Mackay back on, Gibbons crunch, car crash collision from Cordy. He's caught, shrugs it, gave to Bontempelli, gang tackled, gone. Ball. Ed Curnow
Let it go.
says to the Bont, I'll be doing this all day.
Well, when you can come up with, given this goes through, 2 goals from forward half tackles in the first quarter, that is an extraordinary return.
Bailey watching. Hands down.
Underrated Ed Curnow. Second and third in the best and fairest the last 2 seasons. You won't see any "We Love Ed" signs in the grandstands from Carlton fans, but
They'll be "I love Eddie Betts."
they got a couple of Eds they do love. And he spanks that straight through the middle as well.
Well, it's a great start by the Blues. They've brought a reasonably tough level of aggression here that I think has shocked the Blues, particularly inside that forward half. They look like they're playing 6-6 and 6 and making everybody from the Bulldogs have to defend. They're getting it inside. There's nothing pretty about it at the moment. It's just hard and tough in the clinches. And a double tackle, and the Bont was going nowhere. Umpire was left with no option. Bang, you're gone.
Sends a great message to the team as well. When you know Ed Curnow's been sent out there to do a job on the opposition's best player and captain, and when you can pin him early with a tackle, go back and kick the goal, that sort of stuff just gives everyone a lift.
So it's raining and it's been great football. Slick movement, 4 goals scored, and we're only halfway through this opening term. Fantastic to watch, and here we go, back in the middle again. But Marcus Bontempelli not there, having a rest. Casbolt against English this time. Down to Smith, caught. Kennedy back into the team this week, caught him. McRae bumped on that kick. Liberatore crumbs it. Flicked it up to Vandermeer. He dropped and he got a high.
They're playing with an edge though, the Blues. Even the way Casbolt got rid of McRae after he kicked it. They've brought some heat and intensity.
West with a big fly. Simpson, the crumb. Dangerous though. Straight to Smith. Oh, post. He's been hot early though. Quick kick into McGovern.
They've adapted beautifully to the conditions, Carlton. They're not wasting too much time. Real surge mentality to get the ball in their forward half and keep it there. Cause turnovers on the rebound and generate shots. It's been an outstanding start.
And all their big blokes, Lynchy, are grabbing the ball, having a presence.
Well, I think that's what's leading the way. These sort of contests here.
Crutch. Good contest from all players who flew. Mackay tried to pick it and go. Cunningham did get it, gave it to Murphy. Bends it around the body to a pretty good spot. Eddie's waiting for the crumb. Gets crumb. Breaks through a tackle. Flicks it out. Murphy opens it up to the top of the square. No one's home though. Oh, it's been dropped by Easton Wood. Uncharacteristic error from him to Keith. Kind of an indicator of the pressure there under. Vandermeer had to go down to grass to get it. Knocked it back to Keith. He dropped that as Eddie tackled him. Brilliant from Eddie Betts.
And he'd be pretty worried right now, Luke Beveridge. He can visibly see everything that's going on here. He would sense it, Rui, like everybody else can. The Blues are up for the fight, and they have certainly brought the aggression.
What's Eddie thinking here? He's a little hurt. He's going to take his full allotment of time.
We'll let you go, Dwayne, because he could run around at any moment.
15 gone.
Just thinking his way through it. Which way do I hold the ball? Do I bend it? I'm not going to top of the square it. He's going to check side it. It's working its way back. Post. Entertaining start, though.
Thought he might have been setting up for the inside-out talk, the way he's going. But this is great pressure. This is what Carlton has brought to this game.
3 shots at goal, Lynchy, in the forward 50 for the Blues from tackles.
Bruce got up. Double grabs it.
They play a territory game, Jared. So it's not necessarily going to be slick ball use. It's get it in there, lock it in there and build the pressure. And so far, Bulldogs haven't been able to handle it.
Hunter back into the team after his driving and COVID suspension, so good to see him back. English got his arms free, gave to Liberatore, forced it back to McRae, overcooked the handball, but maybe it wasn't meant for Hunter. Touch kick, thump back down to Setterfield, caught, crunched from behind by Lipinski. Williamson through the traffic. Pitternet just slams on the boot to get it out of the area. That might work. Daniels there, keeps it alive. Williams, quick fire kick over the head of English. Numbers back for the Blues. They all fly though. Jones was the best flyer, but he got spoiled in the end, holding the man free. So the Bulldogs will get this one just on the 50. So it needs to be a really good one for Lipinski from here.
They had the numbers there, the Blues. The trouble was Jones flew and he spoiled his own man, Casbolt. So just a bit of a lack of awareness as to what was around.
And I think they got a bit unlucky there, the Blues. This free kick is only because Lipinski fumbled.
Hasn't kicked one this year, and he goes for the top of the square kick. Levi, good grab. Just read it better than everybody else.
Been in great marking form this year, predominantly up the other end of the ground, and his kicking form's been red hot too.
Setterfield to Nunes, dangerous. Wallace couldn't trap it, gets it second time, feeds it out. Lipinski dumped by Nunes. Nunes goes back to mop up that little mess. Simpson keeps it low. Plowman caught by Wallace. He's still got it. Is he trying hard enough? Okay, it was jammed in there.
The Nunes tackle reeked of someone desperate to make up for a mistake. It is a high-pressure game, Jared.
Absolutely, but the Blues are benefiting from it the most because they're getting laying their tackles in the front half, and the ball has been pushed in there. It's a handy break. 13 points in these conditions. Compare it to the other two games, it's a match-winning lead.
Bruce nudged out. Lipinski had it, but they had him. In that congestion, in driving rain. Little slippery through legs. Simpson sure-handed though, caught by Hunter. Tried hard enough, didn't have Pryor, so tried to at least get it away. West bends it around the body, but doesn't bend it anywhere near enough. And there is that tumbling rain.
Got to say the ball handling has been, given the rain that we're seeing, the ball handling has been excellent. And the contested marking, particularly from the Blues.
Plowman heads wide, Eastonwood flies, gathers, caught, handed it. English gave it, West caught, dropped it, Nunes caught, he's dropped. Tough footy at the moment. A little bit of push and shove. And Cripps has hurt his shoulder, so we'll keep an eye on that. Nunes goes low. Bontempelli. Curnow is right with him. He rides him all the way to the grass.
It's not the sort of night in these conditions where you want to have a tag, because the ability to get quick hands out and be really clean, it doesn't exist. It's going to be a really tough night for Bontempelli. He's got to grind his way through it.
McRae blasts at top of the square. Jones gets there, skimmed his knuckle, went to Simpson. Floats it nicely. Plowman. Game 100, drives it down the line. Mackay, second grab, nearly grabbed the second grab, but Setterfield was there for it anyway. Petrevski, Seaton, Setterfield, McGovern. It's almost a win for the Blues. 4 minutes left in the quarter. They lead 20-7, and they have a ball in at half forward.
You can get some interesting matchups in football in this era, but none more so than this. That's probably unfair.
He just conceded, Caleb, didn't he? He didn't even fly. He just hoped the weather was on his side.
Murphy hunted down. Right with him was Louis Butler with the headband and the number 18 in game 2. Only 18 years of age. Back in this week for his second. Ball about to be tossed in. Casbolt and English. Hunter waits behind them. Ball dropped towards Bontempelli and Curnow, who back heels it. Buffeted away though by Vandermeer. Towed off the deck by Dale. Hunter stood his ground, as you'd expect. Feeds it to Butler. Spears that pass. He had two options. West, handball inside. Johannesson runs, kicks into space. Good. Fantastic from Dale. Doherty had him for all money, but his hands were like a vice. And you mentioned it, Jared, slippery ball. Yep. They're handling well.
No, it's been a great exhibition. Saw Butler coming off the half-back line. Spoke to Rowan Smith, their defensive coach, about him a couple of weeks ago. It was big raps prior to his inclusion. And he's won his spot back in the side tonight.
Bailey Dale. It's close to the man on the mark, but it doesn't matter. And the Dogs get their second.
He's been an interesting watch over the 4 or 5 years he's been playing. Big story, though, Paddy Cripps potentially going down into the bunker. We'll take a look at that. But this kid came in as a midfielder. He played in defence. And then he started to find his niche up in this forward half. And he's a hell of a player now.
He was camped under that one. Doherty looked like he had him cold. Just shielded at the right moment. You can see once the Dogs runners get involved, they love to bring the ball back through that part of the ground. Johannisen involved. And just does well to turn his body at the last moment and shield that footy. Finished the year last year really strongly. Wondered how that was all going to work. The Bulldogs' key forward makeup.
And there's the big story. Paddy Cripps off the ground.
3 minutes left in the quarter, so we expect he might be off for the remainder of the quarter. Get it checked, get it strapped, and be there for the second. Pinedette palms it down beautifully, and another Blues clearance even without Cripps in there. Butler, brilliant collect. That slippery ball, tough ball for Curnow, but he was equal to it. Holds his ground, good core strength. Petrevsky-Seton flicks it wide. Cunningham opens it up. Gee, hits a good spot. McGovern, it was there for him. Bounced up like a rubber ball. Is that a push in the back? It is. Gibbons free.
Excellent ball handling by McGovern. Dropped the mark, but gee, the capacity to be able to control it, flick the handball on and set this one up for a shot at goal.
Mitch, jump out, buddy.
Yep, push in the back.
Straight in the numbers.
Been a grand pickup for them. Michael Gibbons, two-time Liston medalist for best player in the VFL, had to wait a long time to get a chance. Played every game since put on the list except one. And he's a reliable kick. 4-2 start for the Blues.
Let's take a look at Paddy Cripps, who's now gone down to the room. So not long to go in this quarter, so he'll get it sorted, but it's just something out of nothing, really. Bit of a stinger in the shoulder. But that's great hands from McGovern. Spilled the mark. It was a great fly contest, but his ground level stuff has probably left a little bit to be desired at times, Jared, but that was really sharp work.
Well, he's given himself a chance. He's got himself much fitter than the previous season for the Blues. The coach is backing him in. He's giving him every opportunity, and he's had a really good start tonight. So's Gibbons. You get a couple of goals in any game as a small forward, throw a couple of tackles in, you've done your job.
And it's a perfect night for a small forward. He's got a couple of big key position guys that are making good contests, so just hit the front and you're going to get plenty of supply.
Big 2 minutes coming up here to quarter time. English palms it straight down to Kennedy, though, and he drives it top of the square. Mackay, one paw, knocked it down. Gibbons again. Martin flicks it out. Nunes, Dan step onto his right. Bontempelli nearly had him, not nearly enough. Nunes kicks a huge goal.
Well, you called it, Lynchy. You called it. Get to the front. There's going to be plenty of supply on a night like tonight if you're getting it inside 50 and the big forwards are crashing the pack, and that's exactly what Gibbons did again then. Had the support runners, and there's a really well-timed finish from Nunes.
And this is where their big problem is. I mean, it's a hit out, but it's a hit out to disadvantage. But the centre bounce clearance domination is setting the the Blues up for their supremacy on the scoreboard. It's 5-1, and they are just doing it at will. And that one was without Cripps in the square. He's had an influence too, Mackay. He hasn't got all the numbers, but gee, he's having an influence.
For a team that bases their game on territory, when you're leading 6-1 with a centre clearance, it's a pretty good indication that your game is on.
Tom Williamson celebrating on the bench whilst getting his ankle retaped. That's a great sign of team spirit.
So an invested player,
Yeah.
Dwayne, that's what that says to you. He's got his head in the game. Even while he's getting strapped, he's thinking about what the team's doing.
Kennedy got the last clearance that was meant for Bontempelli. Bontempelli kicked that off the deck, got it, and nearly had it on the run through, but he left it behind. Walsh back towards the wing. Murphy's slap on was superb. Setterfield, Gibbons caught the back of his heel. Johannesson, English, Harder. Bounce pass is okay. Smith, Harder. Heads out wide in hope. Richards tries to bend it back to a dangerous spot, but he couldn't bend it enough, and the Blues content to see that out.
Thanks, boys. Marcus, Ed. Thanks, Mark and Tim. Boys, Bailey, we're watching.
Still haven't seen Cripps emerge from the rooms. We're assuming that's where he hurt his shoulder.
Pitternet and English. English almost had an arm there. Curnow. Simpson, a star he's been for such a long period of time. He's now top 30 in the AFL all time for games played. Walsh got it from Mackay. Another one of the little things that he's been doing, but Cordy cuts it off. Inside the last minute of the opening term in driving rain. It's been a splendid contest. Blues getting numbers back in the hole. Doherty tried the knock on. Vandermeer dives back in, gave it to Smith, to Johannesson, through the traffic. Setterfield bangs it back into space. No one's ahead of the ball here. Last man standing was Cordy, and he had to drag his man down. No, it's against. I thought it might have been against Cordy. It was against Casbolt.
Had the number 2, Carlton.
Yep. Big win that for the Dogs. 20 seconds left. Maybe a roll of the dice left. Lipinski to the pocket to Wallace. Simpson rode him but didn't tackle him, and Curnow clever enough to take that out.
See Bontempelli deep there, so it's like he's going to try and get Curnow forward and exploit him as a deep forward as often as possible, which is smart on a night like tonight where it's going to be tough to get clean ball around the clinches.
English and Pitternet. Pitternet tries to knock it forward. English tried to knock it back. Smith's got it. They've got him. Wing tackled, gang tackled. Seconds tick down, and Murphy just runs that out dangerously. But it's okay. Sirens go to sound, so barring some bizarre free kick in the ruck here, it'll be quarter time. Flick back. Siren sounds on them.
Michael, come with me. Let's go. Here, Huddle. Thanks, mate.
Gee, that's hard umpiring, isn't it? Come with me.
That's how I talk to my kids, Dwayne.
Wow.
And they're 5, 3.
Quarter time. Sunday night primetime footy on Fox, and we might have saved the best till last. Here we go. Shoulder strap. Yeah, captain, co-captain, back and ready to go after spending the last 2.5 minutes of the quarter off. Curnow again in that congestion. Bontempelli towed it away. McRae gets it inside 50, but it's wide. Race on. Wallace got there. Williamson right with him. Ball in. And he's still hobbling on that ankle. We saw he had it strapped a second time, and it doesn't look good at the moment for Tom Williamson. Pitternet and English. Bontempelli. And a hold, and it's Jones is free. Against Bruce.
I got it. Stay out. Come on.
It's out wide. Good grab from Wittering.
Stay out, Lockie.
Stayed solid. Backed himself in. Doherty flicks it even wider. Walsh. Eddie Betts might have to jump here. He edged them out. Almost got a kick. Can't really count it, even though he towed it a metre, and Keith locked up. Bulldogs coming off 3 wins in a row coming into this, so they were the hotter of the two teams. Carlton coming off that loss last week to the Saints, but they've rectified their slow start problem with another splendid start to this one. Richards, boundary line, tapped away, will get a ball in.
You can see the difference there between the two teams. So Carlton are happy to just get her on the boot and take territory in that situation, whereas the Bulldogs are looking to chain out with hands, use their legs, and get a much better look, an unpressured kick into their forward half of the ground.
Pitternet has been a great pickup as well over summer. Smith saw his handball smothered. Ricochets again.
Speaking of that unpressured kick, the most interesting, or one of the most interesting elements coming into this game was that the Bulldogs, on average, score only 15 points from general play. Everything else is a set shot, so they are looking for that manufactured slow entry, not so much slow, but kick to set up the set shot where there's a high percentage return, and their high percentage return is phenomenal at the present time. But on a day like today, where it's a bit more, I guess, ballistic and a little bit more on the deck, it's going to challenge them to find another method of scoring.
Yeah, they are a team that likes to retain the footy. There's no doubt about that. That is their preferred method, as opposed to taking on a contested situation.
Richards pulls the kick late. Not sure McRae was ready for it. Walsh got there, but he threw it out as he was tackled. Pitternet moves the handball back to Simpson. Hands it up to Doherty. And they're often spreading here. McGovern looks up, and he's got open space ahead. He's got a one-on-one that he likes, but he overcooked the kick in front of Mackay, and it skids out of play. Mackay had a couple of metres on his man. He was there to be hit.
Key forward kicking it to a key forward. Usually they look after each other a bit better than that.
Pitternet again wins with a fist this time. Johannesson, Eddie Betts, Gibbons, Murphy, Setterfield, top of the square, Martin! Awesome! How good was that?
Great call, Dwayne. It was a really clever kick coming in first and foremost from Setterfield, because he didn't try to kick the cover off it. He just kicked it to a space where he knew his teammates could compete. This is a solid mark from Martin. We know what a smooth mover he is over the ground. This is just really clever body work and sticky hands in the conditions. It just took the weight off at Setterfield.
It's a good mark at the back, though. He's a very clever player.
On a good opponent, too, in Easton Wood. You don't see that too often.
They're just handling the conditions just that little bit better. Look, a tiny bit more hungry on the inside, the Blues. It's a pretty simplistic game plan. Just get it forward when you can. Hit a target if it's there, but if not, just bang it to the dangerous spot. This is getting critical now for Luke Beveridge and the Dogs.
Some alarm bells going off for sure. Luke Beveridge, 6th season at the Dogs, premiership coach in 2016. They'll be outside the 8 more than likely if they can't win this one tonight. And what about that from Pitternet? To Cripps on the run, little back paddle in the ruck, and this time Cordy in the right spot.
Should have done better than that. It was a brilliant hit out to advantage and exit out of the centre. And they've got to sort this out, the Bulldogs, because you just can't start in the back pocket every time.
Grab Petrevski-Seaton. Heads inside to Kennedy. As I mentioned, back into the lineup this week. Heads wide, and a good puck taken by McRae. Kicks on the back pedal. Hunter. A little bit of possession football from the Dogs here. Just own the Sherrin for a little while. Down the line with the kick, hoping for Bruce. And Jones right with him, wearing him like a glove. Thumps it out.
Wasn't a great entry, that last one from Kennedy, because you've got the Bulldogs under the pump. So get it to a really dangerous spot and let those small forwards that have been applying such good pressure get to work. Got to bring the ball to ground in that situation.
English wins this battle against Pitternet. Curnow shepherds for Murphy, who was grabbed. Petrevski-Seaton breaks the tackle, flicks it out. Kennedy spears it down the line, but again a poor delivery from him, cut off by Butler.
Just on the back of your comment there, Nick, that's the second forward 50 pass that they've just pulled a bit rather than going long to where they've got strong contest under the ball.
Pitternet grabbed the crumb from the ball flicking through Butler's fingers. Curnow knocked it out. Petreski, Seaton. And Williamson sees it smothered across the line. Bontempelli thinks it should have been out on the full. But a ball in. 25 points the margin. If you've just tuned in, this is the biggest margin of the game. Blues have kicked the last 3 goals. Kicked 5 of the last 6 in this. Gibbons goes back to Kennedy. Bangs it towards Mackay. Wood got a fist on it, but not enough on it. Skims to the back. Eddie Betts inside 50, roaming. Heads goal. Martin up. 1, 2, 3. He's got that. No. Wow. Just didn't have the third grab.
Play on.
Got him.
Johannesson dragged down 360 by Martin. Allowed to go. Murphy to finish it all off. Touched. How good was Keith?
He was brilliant. Murphy was just too unselfish. He was trying to drag the player, and in the finish he just bit off a little bit too much. Martin, no mark, but a hell of an attempt. Went across the line. Absolutely butchered opportunity. Great defence in the finish, not only by Keith, but the guy that covered for Mackay.
Game being played at a breakneck pace at the moment. Hunter goes inside with the kick. Bruce collects it, he can go. Got to collect it first though. He does, now he goes. Got a target inside 50, Lipinski. He needs to collect it, he can go. Simpson comes at him. Goal line goal, Vandermeer. One against the grain for the Dogs.
And goals of exactly the same nature. One was executed properly, the other one was executed poorly. But a double whammy there to the Dogs, and they just get back into it to a degree.
You wonder whether Carlton just took a bit of a deep breath.
Yeah, look at him, everybody forward of the ball.
After those 2 almost moments, Jack Martin just so close to being paid a mark on the goal line, and then they should have converted the next opportunity. It was great forward pressure, and Wooshka straight up the other end.
I mean, there's that much time he allowed it to bounce, probably thinking and knowing that it was going to slide in a straight direction in the slippery conditions. No pressure whatsoever.
That's huge. 12-point turnaround.
Nathan Vandermeer picked 37 a couple of seasons ago. Same draft as Sam Walsh and Bailey Smith, but a lot later, picked 37. Dad Jeff, a 300-gamer for Marupna. Mum, a 400-gamer in the netball world, up there as well. Great sporting family and a great pickup he's been. Wallace has his pocket picked. Williamson's been good. He's hurt, and he's still fighting on. Richards to Bontempelli. Little spark here from the Dogs. Smith heads out wide. Richards opens it up. Top of the square. English nearly had it. Just flicked away by Pitternet. Nunes, well, he tripped on the ball. Picked up against the grain again. And a ripper goal, Lipinski. He set up the last one, and he nails this one. 2 in 60 seconds.
Once again, coming from a positive centre clearance. A lot of goals coming out of the centre right now, Rui. And here's the injury. He was really harshly tackled. It was a great tackle, in fact. The ball just slipped forward. And now they've lifted their work rate, the Dogs, and they're getting benefit on the scoreboard. You see there, the skipper gave the handball, went straight in for the Shepherd. Top of the square, dangerous position. And he's a pretty good find, this Lipinski.
Well, that's got to be the method now for the night. You still want to play your way as often as you can if you're the Western Bulldogs. But there is a time just to take the contest on long.
Yep.
Make it a scrap. It's a great fight back.
So Williamson goes downstairs. Casbolt to do the ruck work this time against English. Ball tossed in the air because it's wet. English, after Casbolt palmed it to him, kicks it to the wing. A block. Okay. That was interesting. Smith about to send the Dogs forward again with a mongrel. Shaki put it to grass, caught, threw it out. Back to the man who gave it to him. He's gang tackled and dragged down. And the Blues tackling intensity has been phenomenal in this one so far. Casbolt, English with the reach. So Liberatore free just outside 50. Libba backpedals, surveys, goes long, big pack forms, ball scoots to the back of the maul. Petreski, Seaton, Nunes, oh, and he fumbled it and nearly kicked it out on the full. Ball in. He's lucky it wasn't deliberate in the end. Fumble. Yep. Just bounced it over the line, but not sure what he was trying to do, apart from get it out. Good attack again. Smith's caught, but he had the core strength to at least get a handball away to McLean, who goes back to go forward. Fumble from Butler, under some pressure. Cunningham bumps him off it. Open space ahead for the Blues. Gets the Shepherd. McGovern made some space for him. Mackay, one-on-one, he threw Keith out, according to the umpire, free kick.
Alex Keith.
He was the last man on earth back there, Alex Keith. There was no other dog there with him. Not 15, and the tackle slips high on McLean from Gibbons. The crowd's in full voice, enjoying being at some footy, having crowds back.
Haven't heard boos for a while.
Oh, Michael.
Too good a game to be booing. Butler doesn't want to waste it. Chisels it to Daniel. He doesn't want to waste it. Just floats it like a butterfly back to Butler. Spears that and finds his target.
Well, this is more the Bulldogs game. Just getting it through high possession. That's more like it, though, getting it in under these conditions.
Wallace edged out of it. Ball knocked back to a hot spot, though. Lipinski, the knock on. Wallace out wide. West, will he go for goal or go for a teammate? Goes for goal. Richards went for the chest mark. Could have got his hands up, but it's a slippery ball. Curnow tries to hold it in. Didn't really want to get it out. Ball trapped between legs. Boddenpelli up against the boundary. Keeps it alive. Richards spent it before he'd earned it. Bizarre. He knew what he wanted to do. And they'll get it back. Smith to send the Dogs back inside 50.
This is unrelenting pressure now for the Blues defence.
Top of the square. And good Mark Jones. That's his forte.
That's
in opposition to
exactly what
Boddenpelli
you
as
want.
well.
When you're under the heat, you just want to be able to get a breather.
Touch, but Kennedy collects it. Dangerous handball, though. Put Martin under the hammer. Kicked off the deck from the hands of Kennedy by Richards. Umpire let it roll. McLean knocks it out. Lipinski, good attack. Simpson on the run, though. Got Setterfield, but he ignored him. He found Casbolt at half back. Again, there's open space ahead. Eddie Betts is over the top, but it's been cut off by Johannesson. Eddie was the solo man ahead of the ball. They couldn't get it to him. Williams inboard. Liberatore. Williams. They come at him. So flicks the handball to Vandermeer. Sold the dummy beautifully. Kick smothered though. Setterfield. Curnow.
Got to try and get a bit of control back here, Carlton. Their game so far tonight has been based on territory, getting the ball in and then building pressure and working opportunities from there. But the last 5 minutes, it's been living in the Bulldogs' half.
Martin down the line to the contest. Ball in.
We talk about the Blues and their kick-to-handball ratio. This is one of the reasons why. Have a look at Simpson here. He's got an easy handball. Most clubs would give that handball. He doesn't. He looks for the kick to get the ball forward and get it out of the danger spot.
Jeanette's had a little rest, and that was a perfect palm down to Gibbons in space, who hits Mackay on the move on the boundary.
It was the same again there, Jared.
Yep.
Gibbons had the runner in front of him, but as soon as they're free of pressure and looking at the game, Carlton, they're happy to just take it on and kick the ball forward.
It's amazing how many times, just watching the game with Sydney today, just how many times with Richmond and Sydney the ball would fall apart, or the play would fall apart because of the extra handball.
Mackay goes for home. It's across the face. Almost hit the post, so it's a ball in. Did hit the post, ball in. Not a bad spot for a ball in, better than a behind for the Blues. Casbolt takes it out of the air, kicks toward goal, and it's across the face. Bullet dodged by the Dogs. Daniel. Blues kicked 3 goals in a row. The Dogs have responded with the last 2 of the game. Float was nice from English. Had a bit of hang time into the ball and heads long. Thump down to ground by Plowman. The Dogs had the numbers there to crumb it. Hunter goes wide. Is it too wide? Rolls out of play in front of Lipinski.
It was wide, but it was a clever kick because if he looked inboard, he saw Simpson had filled the dangerous space inside 50. So anything to the corridor was just going to get mopped up by Carlton. So take a stoppage, build some pressure.
See if they can get a 3rd in a row here, the Dogs. Smith's wreaking havoc. Gee, he's got some bend on that. Heads long, goal square, touched by the outstretched hand of Wiedering.
He's a sweet timer of the ball.
He's a class act.
Some real positives for the Western Bulldogs. Once again, they've been able to transfer the ball from defensive 50 into the forward 50 and generate a shot. So some really good signs that they weren't able to execute in the first quarter.
And it's all down to the pressure. Both clubs, I think, have dropped their pressure. It was almost impossible to keep it going at the intensity it was in the first quarter. But with the dropping of the pressure, game opens up a little bit. Bulldogs, who are a much higher possession side, have started to get their game going.
Liberatore, nice collect and handoff. McRae wobbles it, or early leap from Dale, but not an unrealistic leap according to the umpire. Plowman feeds a handball out wide. Setterfield, wider. Doherty braced for contact and taken to the line.
I think it was unrealistic, but it was on his own teammate.
So the right call by the umpire. No.
He might have got Plowman too. Hunter wore the brunt of it.
Yep, and ploughed into Plowman. Ball thumped down, front and square. Walsh tries to bend it around the body. Dangerous kick to keep it alive. Back with the flight, Eddie Betts, superb. Great commitment. Setterfield rolls it towards Casbolt. He overran it though. Crunch, Butler caught a little high. Nearly lost his headband. Williams, good fake. Second one kind of got Murphy off balance enough for him to kick it. Bruce edged his way to the front. Dumped away though. In the congestion, Smith again. Fake to kick it. Knew it was going to be smothered, so didn't. Liberatore bangs it back to a good spot. Dogs have players around it. It's a roller though. Comes out to Walsh. Got the handball up just in time. Ahead of the ball, there's space. Gibbons sees it. Betts is in the space. He's got Mackay over the top. Keith left his man. He came to Betts. He toes it away. Eddie, Keith, boundary line. Brilliant stuff from the group. Butler couldn't take it out though. Eddie opens it up back again. Gibbons, he's still got Mackay, still got Mackay, still got Mackay, and Mackay goals. Gold class. Cutting of the Sharon by the Blues.
Well, this is a great game of footy. We've struggled through a couple, but this one is finishing the weekend off in style. And look for the Gibbons little toe poke. Toe pokes are infamous, but this one is absolutely superb. Eddie gets it forward, but this one was going nowhere until Gibbons just laid a little boot on it. Great tackle from the Blues, getting the ball back inside. It was Casbolt again. Now look at this. There it is. A little toe poke has set it up for Mackay. And Mackay, he's having a great game. He is actually great to watch when he's on song. He's not a high possession winner, but he's actually a footballer with growing influence. Smart play. Smart toe poke.
Looked like they cooked it, the Blues, and it was one of the big men again getting involved in the pressure stakes. Levi Casbolt with a great tackle on the boundary line to bring Eddie Betts back into the play. Smart players when you see things like those little toe pokes. You saw it from Rankin yesterday from the Gold Coast. That is innate.
Cripps dives in, flicks it out. Kerno, they're inspired right now, the Blues. Heads out wide to Walsh. Running off the wing. Wants to get it forward quickly. Puts it out in front of Mackay. Got up there, just couldn't complete the deal. Cripps tried to knock it forward. Ball knocked back out to Lipinski. Going against the flow though. Go for the Liberatore. He heads long. Petreski-Seaton, Wallace, Petreski-Seaton. Another little dainty toe poke. Keeps it in front. And the pickup was unbelievably good. Kick not so good. Smith cuts it off. Gave it back inside. Bontempelli with the 1-2. McLean a little fumble. Liberatore mops it up for him. Awesome smother. Plowman. Body on the line. Ricochet to Casbolt. Edged out by McLean. Flicks the handball up just in time. Vandermeer long. Dale's under it. Doherty and Dale. One-handed by Lipinski, couldn't pull it down. Dale's still there. Boundary line for Walsh if he wants it. Didn't want it. Doherty back to Pitternet. He wants it. Ball in.
10 minutes of great footy. We're seeing some goals. We're seeing absolute desperation. Dogs have lifted. Blues have responded. The Dogs in this term have touched it 78 times for 2 goals 1, and the Blues 61 times for 2 goals 3.
Knocked back inboard by English. Lipinski, he's been the live wire. Bends that around and it bounces out. 3 minutes left in an awesome half. 11 goals in a half in driving rain. Best footy of the round, maybe the best of the season. And this guy's been fantastic. Smith, kick smothered this time. Ricochet, Petreski-Seaton, gathers and goes. No one home. Johannesson. Wastes no time. Wallace, good leap. He put the leg in, Green style, Toby Green style, but it was okay. Umpire said no, fine. Petreski-Seaton didn't like it.
I think he said the umpire was blinded by it, so he was maybe on the wrong side.
Hasn't had much of the footy, only had 4 possessions. He's putting plenty of pressure on as well, but he'd like to nail this.
A 12-goal half of footy. Settle in. What a Sunday night we've got.
It's been a great standard. Despite the conditions, both teams have been able to execute really well under serious pressure with a slippery footy. This is a great kick from Johannesson. Real penetration on it. Got it there quickly. Is that a free kick, Jared?
I reckon the umpires had to think about it.
Toby Green, it's a free. And it's 2 days of inquiry on a Monday and Tuesday.
If it's Toby Green.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the book. It's a good finish in the end. I think, yeah, just the umpire caught on the wrong side. The Carlton players were giving him plenty of assistance. Just done well just to hang in, the Bulldogs. Carlton dominated that first quarter, and then early in the second looked like they could have really established a commanding lead.
Wallace not even looking at the ball at the moment, looking at loitering in the goal square. So Wallace is playing out a full forward at the moment for the Dogs. Back in the middle. The swipe from English was straight to Kennedy. Feeds a handball to Cripps, who hasn't had it for a while. McRae, English, Bontempelli. Got a little spark here, the Dogs. 2 minutes left. Doherty can't mark it. High contact. Free kick to Dale against Williamson, who's back on after an ankle and a rib problem. Dale. Johannesson set the last one up. Heads out wide. Blues have the numbers. And a 2-grabber nice from Kennedy.
And for all their good work, the Bulldogs, and they've done plenty of it, they've only reduced the margin by 4 points.
Yeah, you're spot on, Jared. It was 19 at quarter time. Mackay got up. Unrealistic, that one. Okay. English. Bruce can't get a run at it. The double-fisted down was good. Nunes, crunch. Curnow put on his backside in a hurry. Kennedy's there, toes it off the deck, gained some metres but couldn't get it out. McLean keeps it alive. Space to spend it wisely. Goes toward West. Dumped down by Plowman. Back towards Jones. Caught, but he got it to Petreski-Seaton. He blasted away. One-on-one ahead of the ball. Cunningham front spot. Johannesson the crumb. Gave it to Williams. He loads up, but he goes wide. Hold. Wintering Sport.
It's had a big quarter, Rui. Petreski-Seaton across that half back line. 6 disposals, 4 contested possessions. He's very good with the football. He runs at about 70% kicking efficiency, which down there generally you're under some heat.
It's a spot for him, isn't it?
Oh, I think he's grown this year. Really has grown.
40 seconds left. Every Blue fan watching this had their hearts in their mouths there as Murphy grabbed the second grab. Heads out wide, down to 25 seconds. Need to be steady here. Keith flies, couldn't mark it. Butler got it from the bont. Rolls it to a dangerous spot. Well played though. Plowman drives his way through them. Maybe a late roll of the dice here for the Blues. Cunningham goes long. Eddie's over the back. Eddie's lurking. Eddie gathers. Eddie goes. Nobody does it better than Eddie.
That was breathtaking. How quickly did they move that footy? Hasn't been their go, the Blues.
No.
That one end of the ground to the other stuff, but once they got goal side,
then it just became a race between the captain and Eddie. Whose ball is it?
I think you defer to the little master in that situation, the man that's been able to do it from every possible angle on every ground around the country. And the Bulldogs play a fronting defence, so anytime you're able to break through that first line of defence, we've seen a few times tonight, Gibbons and Betts and even Mackay getting out the back of the Bulldogs defenders because they front so aggressively.
That's all about the turnover. You can get the turnover, you get that ball going quickly into the forward line, then your defence gets that exposed. And you can see there just how much the Bulldogs have been dominating. Without much score though, 6 inside 50s in a row for 1 goal, and then the Bulldogs and then the Blues respond with 1 and a goal.
Seconds tick down. Chance for the clearance only.
Oh, that hurt, didn't it?
But that goal from the Blues was massive. They led by 19 points at quarter time and they extended their margin at half time to 21 points in a 13-goal half played in driving rain. So when you play attacking footy, you can put big scores on the board. And the Blues have 8 goals to half time. 8-5-53 to the Dogs. 5-2-32. It's a Sunday night special on Fox. The Lynch. If you've joined us late, the Dogs haven't led in this game at all. Blues have led from the outset. They led by 19 points at quarter time. They lead by 21 now. Second half underway in the final game of round 6. Sunday night footy on Fox. And it's been a spectacular goal feast so far. Kennedy tried to track it and go. Martin looked around and it was there. Picks it up, gave it to Ed Curnow, who's been spectacular himself. Heads wide to Kennedy. Plays on quickly, didn't want to waste time. Walsh shut down and Wood, right spot, right time.
Probably just wasn't there to play on. It was a little bit too rushed, trying to get the tempo into the game, but you've still got to make the right call.
Fine line between method and madness, Jared. Your madness and method has got the Blues this 21-point lead so far. So maybe they want to keep taking it on.
And I think, despite what Bevo said there, I think the Blues coaching panel will be really happy with what they've got. 5 goals from forward half change. That's how they play the game. Their big blokes are a little bit more damaging than at the other end of the ground, including this man.
Pitternet, beautiful take out of a short throw in. Gave to Kennedy, sends it to Mackay, knocked it down towards Eddie Betts, who nearly was able to pick it and run. Liberatore shut down. Lipinski shut down. Johannesson shut down. Pocket picked by Martin. Gave it up. Kennedy shut down. Wasn't really a legal disposal. Casbolt. Richards, splendid tackle on Curnow. Nunes got it up just in time. Cunningham, a roller. That works. Gibbons, goal. Speak about chaos. Madness gets them to the goal, not method.
And clean hands as well, Dwayne. So that whole passage where they were taking possession and just coughing it up, but they were all clean. All of the guys that actually were in a position where they needed to pick the ball up, including the big man, Big Levi. He's having an impact, not necessarily in the air, but his follow-up stuff's been great.
A little bit stiff there, the Dogs, with a couple of free kicks that have otherwise, for the last 2 weeks, been paid against. But that said, all they can do is do what they can successfully muster in front of goals. And they have just been hungry at ground level. Their ground ball gets in the forward 50 is really producing the goods at the present time. And that manic territory game is paying dividends, because inside forward 50, they are hungrier than the Dogs.
So back out to a 27-point margin. Equal biggest margin of the game. Pitternet looks at the umpire. He knows he's going to throw it up. They haven't been bouncing because it's wet. And Pitternet into English and into the Sharon. Kennedy wasn't a legal handball. Cripps, who's been injured, had a light second quarter. Curnow just keeps on getting it toward Lipinski and Nunes. Knocked down to Gibbons. Wing tackled. Superb. And is it rewarded? Well, he got a kick away, but he had an eternity to get it. Johannesson to McRae. Straight down the spine in hope. Had Dale there. Had a handball targeting Bruce, but he ignored it. Goes longer to the lead, but it's way wide. Vandermeer through his legs.
And one of the issues for the Dogs is they haven't hit those targets. They normally average 9 marks inside forward 50. Of those, they score 75% of their score, Rui, and that's just not what's happening. They just can't get a grab inside that forward 50. Just 2 at the moment.
Pitternet and English both had a piece of it. Cripps and Bontempelli side by side. Richards gathered, but his handball missed his target. Doherty caught, gave it to Plowman, rolled it through legs. Betts couldn't collect it. English does, gave it to McLean. Crunch, Butler dumped. Simpson comes up with it, gave it to Walsh, puts it into space. Lets Martin go and get it. It's a one-on-one. Johannesson, Martin, boundary line looming. Had a little help. Toe off the deck might work from Nunes. Got some ground at least. That's what we've been doing all night, the Blues. Getting as much territory as possible. Easton Wood jumps in. They jump on him. Fed out to McLean. Lipinski to Butler. Shut down, taken to the line.
Hasn't quite got the tempo yet. Butler still obviously very, very early in his career, been a little bit fumbly, but the more games you play, the more you get used to the tempo. That'll come.
Yeah, 18 years of age in game 2. Louis Butler. Pitternet palms it, but Bontempelli knew exactly what he was trying to do. Lipinski off the deck. Walsh starting to find it, the magnet. The ball's starting to follow him a bit. Baird swung, grab, not the second, got up early. Tried to flick it out. Cordy was right with him. Liberatore to Bontempelli. Slips, but got a handball away. Cordy didn't want to collect it. Just pumped it out wide for a race. Walsh and Hunter. He gathers ground. He kicks at 60, gets it long. Vandermeer race with Williamson. Williamson held his ground and took it to the line.
That's a great illustration. It doesn't have to be perfect footy, but all of a sudden you go from under the pump in your back half, your back 50, to owning field position.
See Cripps and Bontempelli side by side for this one as well. They tie up as Pitternet dumps it forward. Boundary umpire will do it again.
Been a fine Pitternet. It's hard to extract a ruckman from somewhere, probably not paying him that much, and he's having a genuine influence, and they're the big names going head to head, roughly.
Yeah, it's sort of an Ali Frazier kind of battle between them at the moment. Maybe Hagler Hearns, they're a little quicker and smaller than the heavyweights maybe. McRae dumps it long, got plenty on it. Jones got there with the knuckles.
What about the work rate of the big Bont? Now, he's a superstar of the competition. He's famous for all manner of things, but he's not famous for that. And then the follow-up, just release handball. That is just great work for the skipper.
Straight down the middle, little toe poke, didn't quite work. Liberatore feeds it out to Hunter. Time, heads out wide, Vandermeer.
Finally get that mark inside forward 50. That's the Dog style. They're looking for that open space. Put it on a chest. Can he put it home?
Pretty accurate kick. Mentioned earlier, comes from a footy background. He's had a footy in his hand all his life. Grew up in club rooms. He's got 4 goals, 2 for his career so far. In his struts, deliberate approach, never in doubt. Spectacular from the kid.
It's an important response. And good composure from Lockie Hunter too. Because when you're a player and you break through that 50-metre arc, quite often the lights can light up, but
yep.
Identified the space, identified the 3-player, didn't blaze.
And gee, I tell you what, the defensive coach for the Dogs will be saying, well, where were we? There was a couple of guys guarding space in front, and then Latham Vandermeer just slipped out the side. That technique you wouldn't want to touch.
One of the few times they've broken down inside defensive 50, the Blues.
Vandermeer and Williamson match up. Williamson had an ankle problem and a bump to the ribs, but he's had a pretty good evening at the office as well. A lot of game time left in this.
People like to talk about the Blues as being a young, up-and-coming side, but the Bulldogs have got 8 blokes with less than 50 games playing right now, and you think of Riley West and Vandermeer, just kicked a goal, Louis Butler, Bailey Smith, Tim English. There's a lot of talent there coming through just in their apprenticeship years.
Yeah, no 200 gamers at all for the Dogs in this one. It's almost Dale. Towed off the deck by Hunter, gains more ground, race on, and the boundary line too quick for Doherty.
There's no doubt Luke Beveridge has said, if you get a chance, just kick the ball off the ground.
Surge it.
Lockie Hunter has done a couple now, and now they're in a really good attacking position.
Yeah, Carlton have 3 200-plus game players, and Easton Wood with 162 games, the most played by any Dog in this game. Pitternet knocks it down. Smith almost gets it away, but bounced off his knee. Petrevsky, Seaton, Wallace, Kennedy, Setterfield blasts it away. Casbolt, big pluck, but he couldn't quite hold it long enough. Caleb Daniel pushed by the shorts on the kick, and he goes back in and gets it. Setterfield gets him. The crowd enjoying every second of this. Oh, ball. Okay.
And Ping, well, I think the interpretation there would have been that he ducked, which is your prior opportunity. Otherwise, it had to have been high, didn't it?
Martin bleeding from the eye. Don't rattle Gerard's cage on the prior opportunity, Nick, please.
How long have we got?
I've only been on it for 20 years. Here we go, dangerously.
I think the battle's lost one.
Flicks it down, Williamson, who's off and running. Pumps it wide. Cripps. Waste no time. McGovern looks up. A little too central for the kick. Cunningham had to stand under it, and the ball thumped out.
Well, he just wasn't aware there, McGovern, that Cripps was going to try to get the ball over the top to him.
So Curnow comes to Bailey Smith. Shows how damaging he can be. Nunes off the carpet, not the required. Play on, Setterfield to Curnow. Bump up on Pelly on the kick. Kennedy slips it to Setterfield. Bangs it towards goal. It's high. Chance for the Leapers. Levi back with the flight. McGovern one way, Levi the other. Cunningham picks it up, slips it out. Murphy on the back pedal. And he kicks it across the face.
Well, it was a promising move forward. They just weren't able to make the most of 2 or 3 opportunities there. Now the architect gets a chance to set it up.
Jack Martin just coming off the ground with a blood rule.
Yeah, I saw that dripping from his eye. It's dripped all the way down to his chin. Sunday night footy's lived up to its billing. Fantastic prime time performance by both these teams so far. Last round for a while. That'll finish on a Sunday. There's a Monday night game next week, and we expect a few more after that. Long kick. Wiedering stalked it, but English stood tall. Biggest tree in that forest. West. Takes some time. Riley West in game 6. Heads it down the line. Bontempelli bumped, and Casbolt stood his ground, solid as ever.
Lynchy, a couple of good contested marks. Has it just dried up a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. The rain stopped about 15-20 minutes ago, and yeah, this drains very well.
Petrevsky, Seaton to McGovern, whose hands on the Sharon there like a vice, proves that the rain stopped. It's a new ball for this half.
And it's almost at that tacky stage now rather than slippery and wet, so good conditions for overhead marking.
And McGovern has been accurate this year.
And again, off half-back, Petrevsky, Seaton just getting plenty of ball. It's a beautiful kick.
Yeah, Blues fans complaining that he doesn't get it enough, but he's kicked 6 goals, 1 for the year. And he gets buffeted, but he's kicked a monster there to get the momentum back to the Blues.
Big Levi Casbolt's having a really good night. Hasn't got huge numbers, but he's had an impact every time he's gone near the footy, and really important intercept mark at centre half back. But straight away he rolls, and This is a pretty bold kick for a guy that has been criticised at times for his unreliable kicking, and it just opens the whole game up. So Petreski-Seton and these boys, they don't get involved in the game through the corridor unless Levi has the courage to pull that kick inside.
Really sloppy man in your mark there by the Bulldogs. It just allowed Murphy to come back inside. Maybe it wasn't the best kick, but McGovern made it look good. And the finish, superb. They're the ones doing the marking inside forward 50, not the Dogs.
So back out to this equal biggest margin of the game, 27 points. 7 goals won for the season now for Mitch McGovern. Toss in the air, Pitternet and English resume hostilities down to Cripps, who's going nowhere. English tries to knock it clear of the congestion. Setterfield and McRae. He was on his back there, Setterfield. He sat upon him, Setterfield. So McRae's ball.
Don't hold. Clear out, go with him. Play on.
And he drives it long. Chance for the lead, McLean. So an opportunity for the instant reply. Hasn't kicked one so far this year.
That's it, Toby. Just there. 15 gone, yep. There, 15 gone.
He knows how big this is. More than halfway through this third term. Couple of skip steps. In he struts. It's working its way back, but not enough. And still goalless for the season. Cade Simpson. Royal Parade royalty about to bring it back into play in game 331.
The block just set up for Simpson to get the extra 15.
Mackay just edged under it without a free kick being given. Petreski-Seton rolled in the tackle, threw it at his boot, which is allowed. That's caught on attempt. Hunter runs on, opens it up top of the square. Bruce is down there. West nearly plucked it from him. Kennedy in the hole, feeds it out. Williamson just blasts it away into space. Levi's up, kept it in front. Brilliant stuff. Had the poise, and there's that inside kick again. Dangerous, but fortune almost favoured the Brave. Slam back inside 50 for the Dogs. Wiedering caught. Jam tackle, going nowhere. Ball up.
Wallace putting a lot of time into Wiedering, not allowing him to do the intercept marking.
He's hopping away too, Wiedering.
Interesting role for him.
Simpson slams it on the boot. Trapped by Butler. Bends it, goal square. No, across the face. Williamson to Plowman. Some precision ball use there to Mackay. Walsh, again, brilliant precision ball use by the Blues. And Walsh, no second-year Blues for the second-year Blue. He's looked awesome again tonight. Pumps it down the line. Pitternet gets forward. McGovern nearly plucked that. Hits the deck. Brilliant turn by Smith. Turned out of trouble. Put Hunter under the hammer. Mackay was there somewhere. He just couldn't find it between his legs. Cordy's over him. He dragged it in. Didn't want to get it out.
And Hunter's really trying to impose himself on this match in this term. McRae also starting to get a couple of possessions. Bailey Smith in and around the ball.
So Pitternet doesn't realise it's his free. One of those ruck frees where both ruckmen don't know whose it is. And a hold. And it might be Mackay's ball. No, it's against Mackay. Okay, Keith to take it. Often see those go to the forward, not the defender. The boy to the Blues look good at the moment. Everything's turned to goal for them so far, but there's a ton of game time left in this for the Dogs to work their way back into it. Wood to Liberatore. Heads long with it. Bounced there for a couple of them. Vandermeer wanted it most. Gave it to Richards. Wanted to turn inside. Wallace back out. Vandermeer. Bruce got there low, but put it to grass. jumped on. We all wait. The whistle comes eventually.
Cheap players are nervous now when they're getting tackled, aren't they?
I reckon Christian Petrarca will be a little bit bemused by that particular judgment.
Flick down back into the congestion. Wiedering pumps it, but in a dangerous spot. Just knocked down by Casbolt. Butler kicked it off the carpet. English, nice collect. Gave it back to West. Goes inside with the kick. Vandermeer collides. Ball falls to Murphy. Feeds it to Williamson. Hands it to Wiedering. Goes out wide to the runner in space, Nunes.
It's good disposal under pressure here from Carlton because the Dogs are upping that ante in that forward 50.
To Kennedy as they tightrope the boundary nicely. Nunes danced his way nicely around Daniel. Casbolt decided jumping wasn't the right idea because Martin was the man that was jumping anyway, so he stayed down. Murphy, smart. Smith fed it back. Butler again. Got under that a little. Bruce, he gets a free. Hasn't seen a lot of it yet. Oh, play on advantage, it's allowed. Hunter, he could kick the goal. He loops the handball long. Wallace can stroll in if he collects it. He loops the handball wide. Richards bends it around the body. Gee, the hard work of that are behind.
He's just struggling to finish his work at the moment, Richards. And that's another goal. Just they could have had 3 cracks at that particular one. Couple of fumbles.
Even 4-goal lead for the Blues with 3.5 minutes left in the third. Williamson, again, that precision ball use to McGovern, who led hard at him. Mackay. English takes it to the line. Your leads are hard if you know you're going to be on it, and McGovern led like a man who knew that if he led hard enough, the kick had come.
It's an interesting move. Luke Beveridge said he needed to adjust and match up their spare. But Wallace on Wiedering is a really interesting matchup. I suspect Wallace is on Wiedering, and he's only had 3 possessions.
Walsh to Gibbons. Williams got back. Told to go. Daniel, not 15. Inside kick is good to Butler. McRae. So it opens up for the Dogs here. They wasted the last one. Eastonwood runs on. Pokes the pass wide. That'll work. Hunter wanted to get around Simpson. Simpson corralled him. Pressure on the kick. Bontempelli.
Just a couple of possessions in this turn. Need to skip it a nail this one to get them back in striking distance before 3/4 time.
Well, Jono highlighted in the pre-game both Cripps and Bontempelli, the 2 superstars coming into the game. This is the one area where they've got a lot of room to move.
Yeah, he's 50-50 at goal, 118, 111 to be precise. But this is massive, and he drives it home like a captain should.
That's a brilliant finish, brilliant finish. You can see in the build-up again, the MO for the Dogs is that they want to retain the footy inside 50. So Lockie Hunter was extremely patient here. He's looking, scanning, and it's just a really clever touch kick.
Added and abetted by going to ground. You've got to get a slide rule out and drawn a line from the middle of the goals to his boot. That was how perfect that kick was. Big centre clearance.
Four times they've got within 18 points, and 4 times the Blues have responded and punched the margin back out. So here we go again. 18 points the margin. 3/4 time looming. English in the ruck against Pitternet. Both got a piece of it. Down to Bontempelli. Didn't strike it well, but it's still a clearance that'll work. Second kick, superb. Gained some ground in front of Richards. Getting there, Wiedering. Spanked it away towards the line, though. Safety first. Hang on.
Deliberate, not in the marking contest, so the ball had bounced.
Fair enough.
So Shaki onto the ground, so he's now got somebody more his size to play on. Wiedering.
Richards has long. Bruce under it, can't mark it. Hits the deck. In that scramble, Vandermeer tried to handle through that picket fence of legs, but the ball didn't squeeze through the pickets. And it scrambles toward the wing.
The ability to be clean now is going to be so important. That little fumble from Vandermeer there. Opportunity lost.
Hands down.
Pinnernet, front spot, double-handed, patted down, but English plucked it from him. Touch play on the call. Petreski-Seaton with the fist. Slapped back down by Vandermeer. Tried to keep it alive. Williamson. Back towards the wing. English. No front-on contact. Wood. Eddie Betts lurking again. Eddie floats it to where he'd like to be. Martin's forward. Keith kicked it away from him. Holding free. And it's Keith's ball. They wanted to play onto advantage, but it's not allowed. One minute left in the third.
Josh, Liam.
The clock starts ticking. Keith. And Jones is there, got the fist on it late. Jackie hasn't seen a lot of it. Jones scrambles an 8-metre kick. McRae gathered. The old 1-2 with Smith. Heads out wide. Richards pushing the back.
In the back. Hold on.
He's just got a three-quarter time. Just relax and just go easy on himself and start to focus on the ball. He's just too grabbing every time, young Richards.
One last chance for the Dogs here to edge closer. Heads long. They need a mark target. Bruce got up. Ball thumped back to a dangerous spot. Doherty, he runs with it. Wallace wraps him up. Didn't have Pryor. Ball up. 12 seconds left. Tossed in the air. Time for something crazy still here. Curnow tried to get it away. Down to 5 seconds. Ball rolls toward the boundary. Bontempelli collides with Mackay. Siren about to sound on them. 18 points to margin. At three-quarter time, it's been the best game of the round by a mile. A Sunday night special. And we expect a game that's been this brilliant to have a brilliant finish. Stick around. 66 plays 48 at three-quarter. Dogs win this. They'll be up to equal second on the AFL ladder.
So you've got two choices. You can put your best small on the generator from the back line, Caleb Daniel, or you can put a tag on him. They're going with Eddie Betts.
Underway in the last quarter of what's been a goal fest. Libba gets them to half forward. Bruce feeds it to Bontempelli, pumps it around the body to full forward. Big leap of Vandermeer. Couldn't complete the mark though. Walsh spanks it away in hope. Bouncing ball. Cripps attacks it. McRae right with him. Little toe from McRae work. Gave to the Bont. Gave to Hunter. Back to McRae. Kept it low and got it to Vandermeer.
It was touched.
So no, it's been paid.
Oh, that was touched, and he called touched as it was flying towards, but he's been overruled by the player. That's an extraordinary decision.
So should the umpires get together, Lynchy? If one called touch, then he has to alert the other umpire that he called that.
Well, actually, I can assure you that the umpire that's paid the mark, he called touched.
Wow, okay. That'll be a huge break for the Dogs. If Vandermeer can slot this, it's coming back. Footy gods. If it was touched, that is.
This is an amazing pre-goal territory because our system. Look at him, throws his mouth guard away. It's on the deck. It's sitting now at the 50-metre line. Clearly not too worried about the spray that the groundkeeper.
Sure, it's probably better than tucking it down your shorts, though, isn't it, Gerald?
There it is.
Yep. No, I'm not sure of the tucking it down the shorts idea. Doherty towards the wing. Keith, good grab. Still a ton of time left in this. 3 goals and the Dogs are in front. Curnow got in the hole. Petreski-Seaton wing tackled by Bontempelli nicely. Holds it there. Bull. Didn't try hard enough. Bontempelli feeds it to McRae. Magically got it to him. Over the head of Dale. Wiedering, you know what he wants to do, and he did it.
And we're still on mouthguard watch. It's still there. Carlton Bay's been very kind, not trotting on it.
Yeah. Lucky it's not the 70s. That would have been in the 15th row.
Imagine if Durham was around, he would have run across it a few times.
Yeah. Little flick back from English was good. Petrescu-Seton was waiting for it, though. Smith. He's had a good night at the office, but he couldn't trap that. Eddie Betts feeds it out wide to Cripps. Didn't get the bounce he wanted. Now he's being hunted down by Johannesson. Little toe was delightful. The deft deflection from Cripps. Then the fake. Then the dance. Then the handoff. Gibbons goes inside. Phenomenal, really. What a genius move that was. And Nunes pumps it along to Martin.
Oh, he's good overhead.
Absolutely awesome.
They just thought their way through that so well, Carlton. Paddy Cripps, who looks like he's labouring a little bit, just made do with what he had at his disposal. The toe poke was smart, and Gibbons' kick just to lower the eyes and not kick to the Bulldogs' defence was really clever.
So this kick to settle some nerves, to make it a 4-goal game, and he drills it. And the goal fest continues.
And the double whammy for the Blues is that they're extracting energy from the Bulldogs. You can just see Caleb Daniel. He had to go 3 or 4 times in the defence here. And in the finish, he runs out of juice. Johannesson's involved. There goes Cripps again. Now Daniels, he's forward, he's back. He's coming forward again. No, he's not. He's had to go onto the other, but he's stuffed. You've taken out another effort because of the way they're making them work. And at the other end of the ground, blokes are starting to drop off. And the effort's just not there. You can see in the foreground, Cordy just not getting across.
Well, that's because of the Gibbons kick. Gibbons lowers the eyes, and all of a sudden it allows Nunes to put the ball further out into a space. And in the foreground, you can see Cordy and you can see Alex Keith. They're taken out of the play. This has been the story of the game, really. The Bulldogs go inside 54 times to start the score, the quarter, unable to score.
Yep.
Carlton up the other end, 1 inside 50 for 1 goal. Very efficient tonight, the Blues.
Tossed in the air. English hitting it with a double palm. Tried to get it to Murphy. McRae keeps it in there.
So the question marks will be going through the box for the Bulldogs. Do we put the Bont inside? No point having him in there if we don't get inside forward 50. Or do we back him in to kick a couple of goals?
Liberatore plays on quickly. And he gets it inside 50, but Simpson, again, wearing his man, used his body, kept the inside position, then dived and took the mark. Petrescu-Seton with a bullet.
Good hands.
Brilliant collect by Murphy. Experience and poise there to Curnow, who drives it. To Mackay, beaten by Keith. Johannesson can go. Heads along. Jones got up. West threads it out to McLean. Will he go for goal or hit a target? Goes the square. Bontempelli's down there. Doherty scrambles it away. Martin's got to jump. Got hands on it, couldn't mark it. Simpson crumbs it, looks up, not a lot long. McGovern short, just the required 15. And there's that brave inside kick again. Casbolt, Kennedy, Walsh. They could finish the Dogs off here. Goes long to Eddie. Thought about dancing inside on Butler. Now he waits. Trying to think of something crazy here. That'll do. Mackay. Why not? Why not?
Great transition from one end of the ground to the other. Traverse the centre of the ground and ends up kicking it straight to a bloke who's got pretty sticky hands tonight.
He's kicked 2 straight tonight and set up a couple of others. No Charlie Curnow, no Matt Cruiser. Forward line is his at the moment. In he struts for a third. And Deadeye Mackay does it again.
Going to be tough from here, Rui. You've got to win centre clearances and get some territory now. And I think it's probably time that the bont went into the middle of the ground. They are lacking at the other end of the ground. It's a real challenge for Luke Beveridge.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carlton they've found multiple ways. That's what you would be most pleased about if you're David Teague. The first quarter, it was on the back of forward pressure.
Yep.
After half-time, it's been the transition, bring the ball inside, work it to the open side, and your forwards look really dangerous. And what is really impressive is it's a good form line for Carlton as well when you consider how strong the Dogs have been over the last month. It scores against. So their last three coming into this contest, they've conceded 33, 39 and 38. And the Blues have put up 78 with time to play. It's been a strong performance.
Yeah, conceded 4 goals, 5 goals and 5 goals only. And the Blues have 12 on the board now. They're not home yet, but they can see it from here. They can see the 4 points. Butler through the hands of Van der Meer. Great tackle. Smith has been brilliant. And he wraps up Gibbons, keeps it on the wing. Concussed last week and hasn't shirked an issue at all this week. From the scramble, McLean in the middle of 4 Blues. And time ticks down. Inside 11 minutes now. And the palm down, Walsh gets it and wobbles it. They've had players waiting forward of the ball. They couldn't trap it. Hunter does. Hands it up. Williams with a spear through Dale. Collect from Bontempelli was superb, and he blasts it long. Bruce needs to get there. 6 goals last week, but beaten tonight. Jones goes back, just the required 15 to Doherty, who calms it down.
He's become a really good player, Liam Jones. Over the last few years, he's maintained his high level.
Pitternet. And he wraps up the little Caleb Daniel. Look at that straight jacket tackle from Pitternet.
Well, that's just unfair. He's had Mackay in the first quarter, now he's got Pitternet.
And don't rub it into the Dogs about Liam Jones, Jared. It's tough enough tonight. They're down by 29. It's telling him how good Jones is. McRae tried to get it away to Hunter, who was ridden in the back. Crept inside and then turned outside. Van der Meer, nice first touch. Loops it over the head though of Smith. Pitternet waiting for it. Curnow back towards the wing. McGovern opens it up and drives it long. Cunningham down there. Caleb Daniel turned him inside out. Opens up some space. They can go open side here. Williams. Plenty of time to spend this wisely. Floats it out nicely to Johannesson. Low for Bruce, and it's been that kind of night. He was there for the kick to the chest, and they put it at his feet. Eddie Betts.
You expect better from a player like Jason Johannesson there. Time and space, you've got to give your forward more of an opportunity.
McRae to Butler. He bangs it down the spine. Time is of the essence now. Setterfield set upon. Ball up. Still 9 minutes left.
See Curnow working Bailey over. He's been a terrific player for many years, as was noted earlier in the coverage, Curnow, and Bailey Smith just continues to improve. He's going to drag these taggers to limit his performance.
This is kickable for Levi.
They've been good. They've been very good, the key forwards. Not big numbers. I think this will be disposal number 9. Mackay's at about 7 or 8, but just their presence in the forward 50, you can go. It's handy for a midfielder. You know you can pull the trigger, and at the very least, you're going to get a big contest.
He's within range. Loads up on it. Looks good off the boot. And he's got it there. Glorious goal from Levi Casbolt.
He's just one of the great stories. he was 1,000 to 1 to kick that 5 years ago, and he's worked and worked. His career was just about shot. He was on the table. You could have picked him up for a round 4 draft pick a few years ago, and everybody balked, and he took it as the insult it was, and he's turned himself into a hell of a player, and he's having a fantastic season. He'd have to be on the table for an All-Australian spot, and if he just keeps working and working, he might just turn him into an All-Australian, himself into an All-Australian player. To nail this, I mean, a lot of players can't make the distance from this point, but a bloke who has had a long history of not being able to accurately kick, had a flawed ball drop, he has just become a hell of a reliable player. You've highlighted already his inside 50 kick and that particular one. Great work from Levi Casbolt.
From the restart, this is the biggest score the Blues have kicked all year. Murphy. And they've still got plenty of time left to add to it. Ball not down to Martin. Got his money's worth out of him. It's been amazing, David Teague. And the recruiting staff to pick up Martin, get him for nothing. He's been a generator again, and that's bending to perfection. Mitch McGovern joins the party.
It's a good reward. It's a good reward for McGovern. It's good to see all of the tools getting on the end of it in this last quarter, because it hasn't been a night for big numbers for them, but they've been in the game. And sometimes that's all you can ask on nights like tonight when the ball's a bit slippery. But it's been a good return. Mackay's got 3. Casbolt's had a presence, and McGovern's looked up and about.
Yeah, nice little chain of handballs there. Swept out from inside to the outside, and a great return from McGovern, who's been under some heat, and he's had a big day. And it's a great result all round, Rui. We're coming off a 4 goals, 10 to 3 goal 8 game. And I'll tell you what, watching paint dry was probably more entertaining. And we've finished the weekend with an absolute beauty. And the Blues, well, they're on the path, they're on the march, and it's great to see. 4 goals in this final term, they're just behind. They're enjoying it. They're going to celebrate tonight.
Dogs' percentage has taken a huge hit, and Carlton's has grown, and this will be one of the biggest scores kicked for the year. They've got 14-6 on the board now, and we've still got 7.5 minutes left, and they're not done. Martin, little knock on, was clever. Mackay stalks it. Keith went to ground. Walsh collects. Handball to Setterfield. Kept it alive, top of the square. Levi got a paw on it, knocked it down. Smith against the grain, put Williams under immense pressure. Good dance step, little fake, it got him out of trouble. Richards, bounce on the slippery deck, looks up, another bounce, looks up, 3rd bounce, looks up. He hasn't got a target he likes. 4th bounce, looks up. Now he's got McLean. He looks up, bends it around the body. Simpson gets back and he touched it. He dived, he got a paw on it. Cade Simpson, superb. Game 3-31. They've got this game sewn up, but that's his desperation.
Score review. Umpire's call is touch, one behind. Please make sure it wasn't over the line. Whoa.
Review underway.
Can't overrule it on that. That's touched. Surely.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball is clearly touched before crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
So the call is touched, and that was magnificent from Cade Simpson. So 90 plays 50 as it stands right now. The highest score of the season kicked by any team, I think, was 110 points kicked by Port Adelaide. Bruce flies. Been a tough night at the office for him after a 6-goal game last week. To Hunter, mongrels it inside, and Vandermeer has been one shining light.
Yeah, he hasn't found a lot of the footy, Bruce, but he's competed pretty strongly in the air. Has been a tough night up forward, and Vandermeer's really been the de facto full forward tonight, hasn't he? Started out at the square a lot, and
a lot of touches.
Yeah, he's been the one they've looked to pinpoint those passes to inside 50.
And he's normally a reliable shotter, though. He pulls this to the near side. Alistair Lynch downstairs.
Yeah, Dwayne, that's probably the bad news for Carlton tonight. Looks like Mark Murphy, as that goal review was going on, he limped from the ground in a lot of pain. Looks like a right ankle, but yet to be seen. But that looks like he's out for the night.
First game for both teams in their hub life. Next week, Carlton with Port Adelaide at the Gabba.
Let's hope Murphy hasn't aggravated that syndesmosis issue that he had that dogged him for 12 months.
Petrovski-Seton with a short bullet to Gibbons after he got it from Walsh. And he heads along. Eddie might leap. No, he stays down. He let McGovern do the leaping. Mackay stayed down, did the gathering, flicks the handball out. Little dodge step from Williamson to Eddie, a dodge step to McGovern. Goes back to go forward. Didn't want to waste it, and that was clever to Jones. Pulls the kick to the lead. Almost Walsh. Williamson collects it. Caught though. Butler, McRae, Bontempelli. They're fighting on the Dogs. There's no way back now. They've been outplayed all night by the Blues, who, if you've joined us late, led from the outset, kicked the opening goal of the night and have never looked back. Vandermeer. Early leap from West. Got up there. Wiedering Dak, but got a handball away. Williamson, one back pocket to the other. Nunes.
Their control of the ball has been first class tonight. It's the best I've seen them move the ball for 4 quarters for a long time. They had a good patch against Geelong and then nearly threw that away. But this has been probably their best 4-quarter effort for the season.
Yeah, complete performance. And for Carlton victories over the last couple of years, you'd be hard-pressed to find a Carlton win that didn't have Paddy Cripps featuring in the top 3 players on the ground. But he's been... hasn't had a huge influence, has he? He's been banged up, no doubt, and he's going to sit the rest of this one out on the bench. But that's an encouraging sign for David Teague and his players that they can get the job done and get it done really convincingly without their superstar captain exerting a big influence.
I mentioned Carlton play Port Adelaide at the Gabba next week. For the record, the Dogs have Essendon here at Metricon. Short week, Friday night game. Mackay. And he started all this. Brilliant first term. Pinanet has also been spectacular. Got a fist on that. Martin read the handball from Butler early. Flicks it out to Walsh. Pokes it towards half forward and Gibbons. Slap on was delightful to Kennedy. To Betts.
Just great ball movement, great awareness. The knock over the top, kick off the ground. And then the spear to Edward.
He's having a laugh and a smile, Lynchy.
Yeah, so he should be too, because this is a big win outside the 4 points. These two teams are sharing a hotel, so at the Breakfast Bay Marie in the morning, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable for the Western Bulldogs players.
Eddie might be pretty happy he moved clubs. He might be playing finals in 2020. He uses some body language to get it through. He had to bend it, he had to twist it, but he got it there.
And unfortunately, it hasn't been a 100% perfect night because Mark Murphy has been injured, as Lynchy told us. We believe it's an ankle. He has had a serious syndesmosis injury some time ago, but gee, that was totally innocuous.
Well, I know I'm stepping into your area, Jared, but haven't had a syndesmosis injury myself. There's something that can hang around, and that sort of action, sometimes the bones just flare and shoots pain up into the leg, so that mightn't be good news at all for Carlton and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. He didn't even grab at his ankle.
He looked like he was grabbing at his hip flexor almost. So I don't know if it can refer that far up. But
wouldn't have thought so.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
From my way. But It looked very innocuous.
Might have to get you back onto that, Dr. Lynch.
I'll stay in my lane for future.
And there it is next week, Carlton, Port Adelaide. You'll see that on Fox Footy, of course, but you see every kick, mark and handball of every game on Fox Footy Live. Curnow with the kick away to half forward. Casbolt. And he's almost within range here, Levi.
I reckon they're telling him to have a go. Ed Curnow just walked past, got in his ear.
Torp.
So as I mentioned, the biggest score kicked by any team this year has been 110 points. They can blow past 100 here, Carlton. And they struggled to kick 100 points for a long, long time under Brendan Bolton. And here we are in a reduced time game. He puts this through. They got double figures on the board. Still needs to kick it. In his struts. He's cranked up on it. Has it got? Not quite. Off hands. And through 4A behind. David Teague, 16 AFL games as coach. Oh, what about that? Williams. It's out wide. Through Shacky. Richards feeds it back. Smith, Butler, Smith. On the back pedal as he tries to hammer it towards the wing. Nice early float from Jones. Got a full set of knuckles on it. He got it out with 1 minute left.
Geez, that log jam has just become more jammed, Nick. It's going to be tough for a spot in the 8.
That's the benefit of a 17-game season. There's a premium place on every game.
I think that was bordering on an editorial there, Dwayne.
No advantage.
No advantage as they come back.
Out of zone at a stoppage. Time on.
Setterfield.
Touch, play on.
Through McRae's hands. Cunningham takes it to the line. Blues fans rejoice coming off a loss last week against St Kilda. As mentioned, David Teague. 6 wins, 5 losses last season. Retained the job, signed on a 3-year deal. Former Blues best and fairest winner. And they're 3-3 right now after 6 games played in 2020. Throw.
Oh.
It wasn't throw.
And he's going to get his 4th.
Should be interesting on the replay. You are allowed to hit it, but you're not allowed to scoop it.
Oh,
It's a bit of both, wasn't
depends on who you're barrack for, doesn't it?
There's a bit of ice cream about that one.
15 gone.
So the seconds tick down. Eddie takes his time. He's got 3 goals, 1 so far. Couple of skip steps. There's a new hero in town. The new blue, the same old blue that they've always loved, that the footy world loves. Eddie Betts has done it again, a 4-goal night, and the Blues have broken through the ton. 16-7, 103, one of the biggest scores of the season to blow their way past the Dogs. 7-9-51 in one of the games of the season.
100 up, well done Blues. Standing ovation for the Blues. Footy needed this after what we saw in the previous match. Just 4 clubs have kicked 100 points this season in the shortened version and in really tough conditions, wet conditions. The Blues made it look easy and put on a show to finish the round. 103
points from 41 inside 50s. As efficient of performance as we've seen in quite some time from any team for that matter. And there you go. The Blues are in the 8.
Wow. They started this round outside the 8 by not only points but percentage. They were 14th coming into this. So they've jumped from 14th to 8th. That's how big a win it's been. And that is how tight this season is.
And Dr. Lynchy has just phoned through that he does believe it might be just an aggravated hip injury for Mark Murphy, which is much better than the earlier reports of potentially the ankle. We'll be able to get that sorted out for next week with a little bit of luck.
Let's head down to